Well, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Another episode of Fade the Deuce, joined as always by Matt McCumber and the very shadow-like Kevin Duce tonight. Kevin, what is that? Is that like a new is that maybe just a Florida glow you got bronze down there, or what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what that is. No, it's I'm on my Airbnb and I don't have very much lighting in this room, and there's a bunch of dudes here, and like it's just I got to do it in my room. There's no way I can do it out there. Guys are playing poker and all this other garbage, so I was like, whatever.
And you know what? After an 0-6 week, it's pretty fitting you just sit in the shade like that. So you're gonna come. Whoa! Boom!
All the air has gone out.
Hey Matt, I know we'll get to the records at the end. What was your total from last week?
4-2.
So you are you on top of the leaderboard?
No, I don't. I think he still got me, but it was a good week. I at least got my my lock as well, and BYU won outright, so I felt good about that.
All right, so
you stole my lock, dog.
I sure
stole my
did.
lock.
Yeah,
you told me before I did. So
see, look, he's blaming you. But I mean, I understand why you went that route and it worked out for you. So on this week's
there was
go ahead.
It's gambling, right? There was a lot of games last week that I felt I was on the right side, and I think some Matt were on the same side. I mean, I think like Iowa wins that game and covers if they don't call it. I mean, I hate to say this for Iowa, but that was a little iffy. I mean, Duke was well within the number late, and then ended up losing by 18. There were some oddities there. Tennessee was controlling the game in the first half, and then they lose by 14. It was just there were some weird games there. The Penn State against Ohio State, the fumble for a touchdown against defensive holding. It's like that play. I mean, defensive holding like that happens probably more than we realize, and so it's a bad week. You take your loss, you move on, and you try and get on the right side this week.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm with you. The Iowa call was pretty bad. I mean, I hate Iowa, but still, I mean, looking at it just as a spectator, didn't see it.
Yeah,
and even though it necessarily, I don't know if it actually affected the outcome of the spread, but man, that Jerzon Newton targeting penalty really affected that game. So it's crazy. And me and Kevin talked about it on on Keep It Orange and Blue Sunday. Just how dominant Newton was that game. I think almost a perfect game, as Kevin said.
Highest graded defensive player this year, I think.
Yeah. So to say that didn't disrupt the game and the outcome of the spread, I think definitely it did. But, man, so just plays like that, rough weekend for Big Ten officials. So with that said, we're going to start in the Big 12 in the most, I think, probably one of the most exciting matchups, I think, of the week, if Jalen Daniels can play, will be Oklahoma heading to Lawrence, Kansas to play the Kansas Jayhawks. 5-2, and of course Oklahoma undefeated, looking to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. This is going to be a tricky game either way, even if it's Jason Bean as the quarterback. They're pretty good. It's a pretty good offense, one way or another. But if Jalen Daniels is playing, I think this is a game that Oklahoma could be on upset alert. So Matt, we're going to start with you first.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say there's a pretty good chance he plays. So I'm take this with a grain of salt, but I'm anticipating him playing. He's had 3 weeks off. They just came off a bye, so he's been off for a whole month. Now he might be a little shaky if he does start, but he's just so talented. And like you mentioned, I don't think KU misses a beat really on offense. They can still score the ball. What this comes down to for me is KU running game. They average 212 yards a game, and OU gives up about 118. So, what's going to give there? Can KU control the ball? I think they can score enough. OU, a little shaky last week at home, 31-29 win against UCF. And, UCF had a chance to get a 2-point conversion to tie the game and go in overtime, really. So a little too close for comfort there. I think it did wake up OU a little bit, probably for this weekend. But on the road, I'm going to take the points here. I think it was at 10.5. It's down to 9.5 now. So I'll take KU. I just think they can score enough to keep it close.
Kevin? Yeah, I'm leaning the same way here. I hemmed and hawed on this one a lot. I talk often on the show about the emotions of college football and how it drives the game much more so than the NFL game. And you've got OU, who's coming off of a close win. They've really got some national title hopes. I think they're a better team than what they showed against UCF. How fired up do they come in for this? But at the same time, Kansas is getting big noon kickoff. It's going to be a big game. They're a competitive football team. I think 9.5 is just too big of a number for me to give here. I think OU wins. I think OU probably wins by a touchdown. I think this is something like 34-27. Initially, I looked at the over in this one, and I thought, hey, might take it over here. But at 65, that's a little rich for my blood as well. It's a big number. OU's obviously is giving up some rushing yards, but has a really solid defense at the same time. Kansas, obviously, we know can move the ball, but I think that OU will get it done. But I think that KU stays within a number.
All right, so switching gears. So we're going from Lawrence, Kansas, and we're going to head on down to the world's largest cocktail party. I think that's what they call it, right?
Yep.
And they play that in Duval. In the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium down there. So we got Georgia and Florida and the big old cocktail party going with UGA, of course, is a 14.5 point favorite, as they should be. So neutral site, it's half Gator fans, half Bulldog fans. Florida's been kind of odd this year when, they've looked bad a couple weeks and they've got some pretty nice wins too. So this one's kind of is going to be a tough one. I'm glad I'm not picking this, to be honest with you, because I feel like this would be a tough one. So Kev, you're going to start first here. What you got?
Yeah, the hook makes me nervous. Rock Bowers being out makes me nervous. So there's those two things that factor in here, and once it's the same with this one. Like the first two games on the docket tonight and tonight's show, I'm back and forth. We talk about this all the time. These are not games that I would pick, but they are the premier games in college football right this week. So you got to put them out there, and it is one of the coolest events in all of college sports. I've had the pleasure of actually tailgating down there for it. Didn't get a chance to go to the game here. But I think that Georgia is starting to really exert its will. I really worry about the Bowers injury, but at the same time, I think that Florida's a little bit of paper tigers. I'm not really buying into what they're doing yet. Obviously, I know that they got a great win against Tennessee, but they got smacked against Kentucky. Haven't really – I mean, they got a tough, close win against South Carolina. I think the Dogs assert their will here. I think this one ends up being something like 31-13. I'll take the 14.5 and go with the Bulldogs, who haven't lost in forever. And I don't, like I said, I don't like it. I think Florida can keep this within the number. I don't see Florida winning this game. I worry about Georgia's offense without the ultimate safety net, probably the best safety blanket in all of college football, and Bowers. Arguably a top 5 football player in all of college football. And when have we last said that about a tight end? I mean, dude's incredible. So, but I think Georgia rallies this week. I think they cover the spread.
Yeah, I'm going to go opposite of Kevin here. And like he was saying, I went back and forth on this. I like getting the hook here. I like a Georgia team without Bowers because he is their safety blanket. When they need a first down, he comes up big play after big play. Carson Beck's been great finding him. And here's my thing with Florida. In their losses, they're averaging 41 rush yards a game. In their wins, they're averaging 181. Now, Georgia ranks 38th in the country in rush yards per game and per attempt. So not, still curtain defense here, but still in the top 40. Can Florida rush the ball enough to lengthen the game and lengthen some drives to keep the ball out of hands of Georgia. We'll see. I'm banking on it. I think they will. They got a slew of running backs. I think we'll see more run than pass. Graham Mertz has been great, by the way, and I've been a Graham Mertz hater, but he's been great the last couple of weeks, threw for over 400 yards one game. I think it'll be low scoring. I really do. And 14.5 in a low scoring game is just too much, especially in a rivalry game. Give me the Gators 14.5.
I like it. And then I've been on to Mertz a little bit. I mean, I don't think he's as bad as we all thought, but he just had some showings against, and it's funny to think about, Illinois' defense was so good last year that made him look awful, but maybe he wasn't that bad. Now with that said, Matt, we're going to have you start off with another interesting one, another good one, another reason we have it on here. Duke heads to Louisville. And of course, this is a top 20 matchup. Both teams inside the top 20. Duke coming off a nice little butt kicking in Tallahassee. And then Louisville coming, Louisville coming off of a thorough beating at the hands of Pitt. So Pitt got him pretty good there. So, Jeff Brom's team's going to come back. They're going to be able to lick their wounds. It looks like Duke is more healthy, though, than, we had previously thought. Wasn't really sure when their quarterback was coming back, but he played last week. So this game is going to be down there in Louisville, Matt.
Yep.
What you got?
So Riley Leonard actually got hurt last week again, re-aggravated his ankle. They took him out in the third quarter, and he was on the sideline, like trying to get back in, but they just didn't want to test it. And that's what flipped the game. Obviously, their backup quarterback, like Beelan, I think was 1 of 6 for 7 yards.
Yeah,
so
it's just such a huge difference.
Yeah. It's huge difference. Now, Duke is very capable on defense. Obviously, they've got a top 40 defense, maybe in top 30 in some aspects, but I am banking on even if Riley Leonard plays here, he's still going to be favoring that ankle. You get Louisville coming back home off a bye week and a pretty embarrassing loss at Pitt, like you mentioned. And I'm only getting 4 points at home, or I'm giving away 4 points at home. I think you see a very pissed off Louisville team here. And again, Duke's capable on defense. I think Louisville takes this game by a touchdown or more. And I don't know if Riley Leonard really plays all that much. We'll see. But
yeah, I'm on the other side of this. I'm just going to take the team that is battle tested, has a really, really good defense. And I know this is a few tough games in a row for Duke. I think that Riley Leonard will play. I'm very worried about that, Matt, but I'm going to take the points here. I'm going to take the Blue Devils. I know I was on the wrong side of the Blue Devils last week. I'm not really buying Louisville. I mean, I think their resume is really strongly built on a game against Notre Dame. And good Lord, Notre Dame was running through the gamut at that point in time in the season. I think they were a little fatigued. I think they were a little beat up. Louisville took care of it on running the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to do that to a really good Duke defense. Frankly, I thought Duke was better than Notre Dame in the game that they played. And I'm just buying what Mike Elko's got going on there. I think Riley Leonard can be effective enough. I think they can. I think Duke can keep this within the number. And at 4 points, I might even sprinkle a little bit on the money line here. The one concern is obviously being on the road. Where is game day this weekend, by the way?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I know big noon kickoffs there, as you mentioned in Lawrence, but
yeah, I'll look.
I had not heard about where it is. Let me see. Yeah.
I mean, because this is a rank. There's not many ranked on ranked teams. It's heading. Never mind. It's heading to a game we're picking here in a minute.
We're going to Salt Lake City.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The next matchup on our docket here.
Yeah. So I'll stick with Duke here. I think Duke can stay within the number. I think they keep this close. Like I said, I might sprinkle something on the money line, but I think it's something like 23-21 in that ballpark. So 4 points is too much for me.
Now, as we just mentioned, Oregon heads to Salt Lake City, Utah, coming off a huge win in the Coliseum over Caleb Williams and the Trojans, the defenseless Trojans.
Man.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Caleb Williams is gone. probably gone. So with that defense of USC, even though I'm not sitting here and saying I think Illinois and some of these other programs are on that level talent-wise, they just don't play defense. Everybody has scored on them this year. So nothing scares me about USC's defense, no matter what. So Oregon, Utah's got USC's number. Do they have Oregon's number, Kevin? It's in Salt Lake City. Their backup quarterback, I mean, it's not a backup anymore. He looked really darn good.
He did.
The pig farmers that's what I'm calling him, because that's what his coach called him. Yeah, he said they got a Heisman Trophy winner, we got a pig farmer, and that dude's tough as nails. Let him do a big time field goal last second. Oregon 6.5-point favorite though in Salt Lake City, Kevin.
Yeah, this is the typical one for me. I know it's not a primetime game, but this is a home dog, and this is a primetime. It might not be at night, but those folks in Utah are going to be fired up for this. They've got game day in town. Kyle Whittingham is doing a fantastic job here. They have an incredible defense here. I know Oregon can score, and Oregon showed well last week against Washington State. Both these teams really battle-tested in a strong Pac-12. But this is one of those things that I get 6.5 points with the better defense at home. I'm going to take it. Now, I know Oregon has showed signs of playing some better defense, and but they've given up some points recently. If Utah can sustain some drives with that pig farmer quarterback like you're talking about, Ryan, and keep their offense off the field, keep their defense fresh, I think Utah's got a really good chance to win this game. 6.5 points is way too much here for me. With a home underdog, with College game day coming into town, a really well coached, sound football team. Give me the Utes.
And I am going against usually everything I think about when I place a bet on a team. I mean, Kev is absolutely right. You got College game day, Utah, tough place to play. Fans will be going nuts. Getting 6.5 and all that. But I'm taking the Ducks minus 6.5 here just because their playoff chances right on this game and this game alone. I mean, if they don't win, they're not going to the playoff. They've already got one loss. I mean, a lot less likely to go to a playoff. I'm not going to say 0%, but they can't afford to lose this game here. Yes, it's going to be tough. I look at, and like we already mentioned, I mean, Utah scores 34 last week against a terrible USC defense, but they're ranked 98th in the country in scoring at 23 points a game. And the Ducks are, I think, in the top 10, averaging 47 a game. I think at the end of the day, Bo Nix is going to run a little bit more in this game, pick up tough first downs that they need. They got a better playmaker and Bucky Irving here. And
he's Stanton, yeah.
And, I'm going to take the Ducks just because of what's on the line for them. And if this was anything more than a touchdown, 7.5, I'd be the other way. But since it's under a touchdown, I'm going to go with Oregon.
And that leads us to the final matchup of the week. And that will be taking us to Madison, Wisconsin, and the Badgers the Badgers is their redshirt freshman quarterback, Braden Locke, who escaped with his life last week.
Escaped.
By the hair of his chinny chin chin. And Ohio State, who just came off a massive win, pretty dominating second half over Penn State. And so, it makes you kind of wonder, are they ever going to get over the hump, Penn State? But Ohio State did what they needed to do in Columbus, looking to stay undefeated as they head towards the big matchup, the final week of the season. 14.5 is the total here, it looks like. Is the spread for Ohio State. Matt, what you got here?
Yeah, I look at this game coming back to Wisconsin. They're playing with a little bit of house money with what happened last week. 18 unanswered in the fourth quarter at Illinois, and like you said, Locke gets kind of a second life here. He's got one start under his belt now. Probably has a little confidence and a little momentum coming into this game. Obviously, Ohio State is better than Illinois with the amount of talent and players they have, but not crazy. I think that talent is not as the gap is not as big as people make it out to be, especially on defense. But anyways, I think Wisconsin's going to ugly up this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Ohio State hasn't been scoring like we've known them to score in the past. They're not putting up 47, 53 points a game against Big Ten teams. Yeah, maybe Sisters of the Poor, but I see this low-scoring game in the 20s, maybe something like 24-17 or 23-17, something like that. For this game, 14.5, way too many points. Maybe if it was under 10, I'd look at Ohio State, but no way. They just don't score like they used to. So Wisconsin 14.5.
Kevin, before you speak, I have to say one thing. Home dog in prime time. Get the shirt.
Get the shirt. I was going to leave that for Kev to say.
Sorry.
Copyrights.
Yeah, that is going to be your thing. Man, we got to get a shirt made. All right, Kevin, the floor is yours.
Home dog in prime time getting 14.5 points, dude. I'm taking it. Like, it's all day long, dude. That's all
you got to say.
The jump around is going to be lit. They're going to be excited. Braden Locke, actually, we talked about this on Keeping It Orange and Blue. Had he not had somewhere around 5 or 6 drops in that game, he would have completed close to 60% of his passes. He threw some absolute dimes late in that game. He made some great reads. He handled the pressure. I thought when Newton knocked the piss out of him and got ejected for the targeting game, he might be shook. He wasn't. The dude's tough. Like, he makes reads. He makes great throws. I think he's going to do enough that they can score enough. And it's the exact point that Matt said, is this is not your Justin Fields, Caleb Stroud. Like, this is not CJ Stroud. Sorry. This is not your typical Ohio State under Ryan Day offense right now. They just do not have that explosivity. They have questions at quarterback. And so you're going to give me 14.5 points there with a team that I don't know that they're really going to threaten 30 to 40 points against Wisconsin. And if you're not going to be able to score close to 40 points and I get 14.5 points with a Wisconsin team that I think will find a way to put some points on the board, yeah, give me that. I do think Ohio State wins. I think this is something closer to 28-17 in that realm. But 14.5 is way too many points for my favorite bets in all of college football. You guys said home dogs in prime time.
Home dogs in prime time.
And that's an NBC game, right?
That's the NBC primetime game. So with that said, Kev, we're going to let you lead off with your lock of the week. No.
Oh, just put it up there. Just put it right there for the world to see. 0-6.
I didn't need to say anything about the words can speak for themselves. Listen, Matt had a rough first week. Remember, Matt?
I was 0-4 first week.
Yeah. And nothing considering the man took your lock last week, and you were nice enough to let him have it. You didn't have to, but
you know what? Actually, there's nothing in this show that says I couldn't have just joined him in the damn lock. Is what I should have done.
Exactly.
Just joined him in the damn lock.
You want to pile?
I actually bet BYU on the money line and made money, so that's all good.
What I love is, and I got a text from, I think, Matt in a little group chat, or Kev, about the injured Texas Tech quarterback. It was like money. Money. You should have played that for man. We gotta play that.
No. 0-6 week I'm playing.
All right, Kev. You know what though?
Matt can play money because Matt was money Matt McCumber last week, baby.
That's right. They call me Money Moco.
Money Moco. I am fading Matt here with this pick, as he went the wrong way on these guys a couple weeks ago. I don't like doing this, but I'll be honest, guys. I'm on a dude's golf trip for work. I'm in Orlando. I've been playing poker. I've been playing golf. Like, I haven't looked at the spreads all that much this week. So I'm going through the list and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go where my sweet spot's at. And I'm looking at the Big Ten. And I'm sorry, Indiana's dog shit. And Penn State's pissed off. So give me the Nittany Lions minus the 32 against the Hoosiers. I see this one being something like 41-7. Penn State is I think they probably should have won the game last week. I think they're going to come out fighting mad, and I think they're going to beat the dog piss out of Indiana. So give me the Nittany Lions minus 32. I think it's 32 and a hook, 32. I don't care. I'll sell the hook. If you're getting 32 points, the hook don't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Yep. So with that said, Matt had a pretty good week. He went 4-2, and he's above 500. I'm pretty sure for the year. So he's slow and steady. It's not a quick race here. This is the 400 meter, I'd say. We're not doing the 100 meter. We're going 400. So Matt, what do you have this week as your lock to keep it rolling?
I am gonna go out of my comfort zone here and look to the NFL this week for the first time all season, and I'm doing it in a spot where people probably think I'm nuts. But I'm going to take Green Bay at home, getting a point +1. Green Bay sitting at 2-4. Coming in, you get Minnesota at home on a short week after playing a great Monday night game, let's be honest, against San Francisco. I like the emotion of, hey, just had a great game. I think there's going to be a little lull, especially on the road in a short week here. Don't get me wrong. Jordan Love's been pretty bad. Green Bay's lost 3 in a row. They've scored, I think, 13 and 19 in the last 2 games. So something's got to change here. But I think their season's on the line, and they know it. Yeah, under, right? Exactly. Their season's on the line. They've got to win. They can't get to 2-5. They know it. So I'm gonna take the Green Bay Packers with their backs against the wall at home +1. Against the Vikings.
Yeah, and Matt, looking at your pick when I saw your lock came into mind, and I looked at that. 42 seems like a big number.
For this game, it's a big number,
right?
And you still don't know if Justin Jefferson's going to play, even though they look just fine without him the other night. But it's a different animal on the road too.
Yeah, I mean, their last 2 games have stayed way under 42. Like we said, Green Bay's inability to score right now, but I think you got 2 really solid defenses here. Minnesota's played well. I mean, in the last 2 games, Green Bay has failed to get anywhere near 42. So I don't know how I feel about the pick 'em. I agree 100% with everything you said from a logic standpoint, but yeah. I'm looking at something in that game just to add on. I'm looking at the under there.
I like that.
Let's see here before we head off. Any comments here from some spectators? Jay Beggin.
He's been the man today.
He's all over it. He was all in on Utah. He said it's his favorite podcast. So we appreciate all the people who join in. So Matt, real quick, who you got? You got the Rangers or the Diamondbacks, man? Because I feel like the Rangers just got it going right now. I think they got that mojo.
I think they do too. It's kind of crazy because usually you've got a team, especially in the last 7 years, Houston Astros, being in the ALCS or the World Series every year in the last 7 years. You've got one team that is expected to be there and usually an upstart team. Now, both of these teams are upstarts and, kind of calling themselves a little bit Cinderella story. I love the youth of the Diamondbacks, and they play small ball. So I like the Rangers pitching staff better.
I like that could be the kryptonite because the Phillies bats weren't it.
They weren't. And
yeah.
If I would have put my life savings on the Diamondbacks and the Rangers to not win, basically the Phillies and the Astros go 0-4 at home between the 2 series, no way in hell that would have happened. And the Diamondbacks won 2 and the Rangers won 2, both on the road. It's just incredible. I mean, they're playoff tested. I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be 7 games, and the ball flies out in Arizona sometimes. It flies sometimes
in Texas.
Yeah, flies in Arlington, especially if you get a good day and they open the roof. You never know.
It just seems to be like a good luck charm if you beat the Astros in the playoffs. The teams seem to go on and win.
It was a huge deal here
because it just feels like the 2019 Nationals, like that you just won some series you shouldn't have, and I can't discredit the 6-seeded Diamondbacks what they've done here. When you just sweep the Dodgers and you go and beat the big bad Phillies, in Philadelphia, and down 3-2. But when you do that to the Astros, the team with just so much clutch, experience,
right?
World Series champions, you know what I mean? It's to go there and take 2 in a row in Houston. You got to have some cojones, man. So
yeah,
I definitely love the Rangers.
I'm going with the Rangers in 6 here. I think there's some playoff experience that when I look over at the Diamondbacks, you got Longoria, but I don't know if you got anybody else that's really played at this. I'm even like,
no,
it's
their catcher rookie, their
Perdomo.
pitcher that pitched the other night, rookie
Corbin Carroll,
rookie.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know they should be worried right now, but I think that's going to run out at some point. The stakes are going to be real high, and if I have to see one more Adolis Garcia Cardinal fucking meme, I'm going to slap somebody. Because let me tell you, that was the guy.
You should trade that dude for cash considerations.
Yeah, that dude's the guy that tripped around third base. Who couldn't even score a damn run that would have won the Cardinals the Central.
Hey, you know what? He might get close to hitting 10 home runs in the postseason, and if he does that, he'll tie Randy Arozarena at 8. Or I can even say his name. Who he used to play for? Oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Cash considerations for that dude too. Good job, guys.
Let me just say, I've never been a Mozeliak fan. I don't know about you, Matt, but
my patience running a little thin with him. I'll be honest, and
he's just made some of the most boneheaded.
You only give the guy. Yeah, you say, well, he didn't do anything. He had a 30% strikeout rate and all this stuff. Well, you gave him 17 at bats. I mean, come on, you give him a chance. Yeah, he slipped around third base, but come on.
And I was just saying that, I understood why that was frustrating, but we didn't even get a chance to see anything other than that. It was like,
we didn't.
You're done. You slipped. You're out of here,
Yeah, just trade him with Luke Voigt, too. Didn't he leave the American League at home? Never mind.
Yeah.
Hey, so I have a question for you, Matt. Help me out here. This is a little fun in our show, and we can definitely pick this as you and I come up with a spread here. Vegas does not have one. I've been searching. My thought process is it would probably be Kansas minus 6.5 on Sunday night here in Champaign against the Fighting Illini, the beloved. What do you think about my spread? We need to move that a couple points. And which side would you lean?
I would, if I was getting 6.5, I'd take Illinois on that, just because KU's only got 9 scholarship players, and they had to kick off a Toro Morris with another domestic abuse deal, and that hurts their.
Where was he going to be? Was he going to be a starter?
Most likely, it was a 5-star player.
I don't. You got.
Is it DeJuan Harris still there?
DeJuan Harris and Kevin McClure back there, and but yeah, I thought he would play quite a bit, and Hunter Dickinson's never beaten the Illini, so I don't know why he would start now.
No. No. Oh, and you know what? I was just thinking about that. How do you think that is for a guy who got away from Michigan, partially to get away from Illinois, no matter what he says, and to be like this? All right, I'm here at KU, and okay, the schedule's coming out. What do we got? They're like, we're kicking off with an exhibition. All right, where are we going? Champaign. And you're like, no. He was probably like, please tell me you're kidding. So I love.
Yeah, they've got a great starting 5, and
they do.
Like Matt says, they're a little thin they're a little thin behind it, but you got KJ Adams, Kevin McCullough, Nick Timberlake, DeJuan Harris, Hunter Dickinson. There's a reason why they're number 1. Parker Braun coming off the bench. They've got guys here, but this is going to be interesting.
Illinois' strength is their depth, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Kansas and Illinois that's very interesting is you got DeJuan Harris who's been there forever, Kevin McCullough who's playing his 38th year of college basketball.
Yeah,
KJ Adams is a seasoned veteran. Hunter Dickinson's been around forever. These might be 2 of the oldest teams in college basketball going against one another. I think it's going to be a fun game. It'll be interesting. Here's the question: is that we know the coaches want this to look as close to a real life game as possible because of the optics. But they're also going to sub a little bit more generously. We know that. How is Terrence Shannon Jr. going to approach this game? How is Hunter Dickinson going to approach this game? How is DeWan? Like, they know this is an exhibition. They know this doesn't affect anything in March for them. It'll be very interesting to see, but I'm super happy we get to see it, and it's televised. Really great deal.
Oh man, it's a win-win.
And there's still tickets available. People, get your tickets.
And remember, the money's going. The money's going to Maui, the Maui Relief Fund. So, definitely, if you can go. So, it's going to be a great night. I know that. I know you wish you could be there, Matt.
I would love to be, but
just because of your backstory and Coach Self and
yeah, it'd be amazing. I think there's going to be some former Coach Self players that are going to try to get there. Maybe Sean Harrington or something like that. I got to reach out to Sean, but
I would love. You know what? I hope they give Coach Self a moment to just let fans celebrate him a little.
They should. He deserves that. He did a lot for University of Illinois.
Because in 3 years, if you can say what did he do for us in 3 years, you're like, well, 2 Big Ten titles, Elite Eight, Sweet 16. I don't know, just that. I don't know, gave you the players that took you to the national championship game. And I don't know what your take is on that. I mean, I know Bruce had a lot to do with his coaching philosophy was different.
It was,
but those are still Bill's guys.
They were.
And do you think Bill would have got him to that same point eventually?
It's really hard to say. I mean, both are great coaches. It would have been a high-low Bill Self offense versus 3 guards out, continual motion with Bruce Weber. I think Weber's offense was more suited for that team, but not to say they still would have been fine with James Augustine on that low post running the high-low. I mean, no doubt about it. And even Bruce Weber kept.
I think you would have seen more Roger Powell.
Yeah,
I think Roger Powell probably would have been more prolific in the scoring of that.
And Illinois would have had Charlie Villanueva 1 year too, probably.
Well, yeah. Now he committed. I mean, It was in the bag. And it's funny, he came on his recruiting visit and his brother was with him and his mom couldn't make it. And they gave me a camcorder and I followed them around campus so that the mom, when they got back home, could watch everything on the camcorder. Oh. So we had to turn it off a couple of times when we were out at the bars. I'll just say that.
Out of Bubs. I know that story of Bubs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
so, yeah, it was in the bag for sure.
That's good stuff, man. It's almost like all those Cliff Miss. I mean, anyway, Cliff Miss. Remember that, guys? Yeah.
Nice.
All right, you got. Yep. So with that said, I think that'll do it. Safe travels. Enjoy your time.
Enjoy it, Duce.
Yep. Be back in time to watch the game Sunday, right?
I will. I don't know if we'll do keeping it orange and blue Sunday night, though. I'm going to need to spend some time with the family. So.
Oh, no, 100%. We could just plan on doing it Monday night. So.
Fair enough.
All right. Talk to you later, Matt. Have a good week.
Thanks. You too.
See you guys.
ILL.
Swami out.